So, you're a recent college graduate with an interest in finance? My guest today is Nicole Pompa, financial advisor and owner of Pompa Financial Services. She has an extensive background in both the insurance industry and the finance industry, and over the years, she has helped many people become debt free and financially independent. Welcome to the Young Professionals Career Catalyst, Nicole.
Hi, Shelley. Thanks for having me.
Sure thing. So, before we talk about your current job, let's talk about your career path. What career did you think about as a kid and why?
Oh, I love that question. I think it's age related. When I was really, really little, uh, I had typical things, right? You want to be an astronaut, you want to be a doctor, you want to be, all that stuff. I really wanted to be a teacher,
Okay.
which is kind of relevant to where I am now.
It sure is.
But then I got I'm really good at math, and my father's an accountant as well. So I followed in his footsteps as I went through high school. And when I was making my decision to go to college, I decided I was going to be an accountant.
Okay. So, you majored in accounting in college.
Yes. Yep.
And what was your first career upon graduation?
I went right into public accounting. Through college, I did a lot of odd things still in the industry, but I worked as a bank teller. I interned with a couple of firms during tax season, which was effectively winter break
Mhm.
during college. But my first job out of school went right to public accounting and started as a junior staff accountant.
Okay. And what did you like and dislike about being in accounting?
Well, at first, when you're coming right out of school, you really don't know what to expect other than what people tell you, what your future employer tells you, kind of what to expect. So I loved, I'm a people person, and in
Mhm.
public accounting, you get to deal with all different kinds of people. So I learned a lot about different industries because those were the clients that we had. So restaurants and retail stores and landscaping businesses and doctors and lawyers and all that stuff. The accounting's the same, but they run their businesses very differently. So not only was I learning how to be a professional accountant and how to deal with, people skills and problem solving and all of those things, but you also had to learn a little bit about each industry to understand how and why the numbers meant what they did. So that's something that I really really enjoyed in my career. Um, Dislikes, so it's not for everybody. I'll be honest. A lot of people think, let's go into accounting, and accounting doesn't always mean taxes,
Right.
which I think is a big myth, misunderstanding. I still get that. I haven't been in public accounting since probably the 90s. And every April 15th, everyone's like, oh, this was a busy time for you, isn't it? And I'm like, no, no, it's not. So I like that. There's flexibility there. There's all different types of accountants. Um, so it really depends on what your specialty is, what your niche is. My father, his specialty was restaurants.
Okay.
So a lot of his clients were in restaurants, or owned restaurants rather. Um, there wasn't anything I really didn't dislike too much to say this isn't for me that made me want to switch careers entirely. It
Mhm.
was really just understanding. And I think that's something that people need to understand, especially if they're coming right out of school or looking to switch careers. It's really what you make it, right?
Yes.
There's always going to be something that you don't prefer or you don't like. Accounting, especially public accounting, is long hours, especially during tax season. It's almost required
Mhm.
by a lot of firms. So waking up on a Saturday at 6 a.m. to be in the office by 7, not fun. But
No, not at all.
it's part of the job. That's what you have to do.
And that was just specific to that type of accounting, or well, I know there's tax accountants and other
Yeah.
types of accountants.
So then in my career, I was in public accounting for about 8 years. And it was kind of, not that I knew everything I needed to know, but I really just, it wasn't for me. And I just kind of got that feeling that it was a chore to go to work. And you never want to do that. The second you feel like, you're not really involved in what you want to do, you kind of want to rethink things. So coupled with that, I really just wanted to explore because I could, right? There's always accounting jobs available. So I moved to the private sector. And basically what that means is I'm no longer in public accounting. I work for one specific company in their accounting department,
Right.
and focus on one industry.
Okay.
So I moved to healthcare, and healthcare in the sense that I worked for a management company that managed child daycares, adult daycares, nursing homes, a foundation, a lot of charitable stuff. So I still got that mix of things, but it was all in one industry,
Okay.
and that was really rewarding as well.
Hmm.
So when you talk about the different types of accounting, there's cost accounting if you're in manufacturing or retail.
Right.
There's public accounting, there's private accounting, there's all different kinds of things. So that's really
Okay.
where I got into that healthcare industry. And I stayed there for about 10 years. And then I moved to wholesale and distribution, which is a whole nother, whole nother ball of wax.
Right.
So what I was doing though was building that foundation. I'm not an expert in taxes, but I knew enough to understand if I'm reading a financial statement, what questions do I need to ask? What do I
Right.
need to look at or consider? So through my career, which is almost 30 years now, I've pretty much done everything from junior staff accountant and bookkeeper all the way up to controller of multi-million dollar companies. So it's been very, very rewarding.
Hmm. Okay. So then you decided to pivot from accounting to finance. Why did you make that shift?
I did, yeah. So again, just really seeing kind of what's out there. I never saw myself as a business owner because my generation, that's what we were taught. You go to school, you get good grades so you can get a good job, and then you work. Um, the universe has shifted, right? And now there's so much opportunity for you to come out and own your own business and or have a startup or something like that. So my pivot to finance was actually very interesting because even though I had this extensive background in accounting and I knew numbers, that's what it's what I do every day. Sometimes accountants have their personal finances, not to say that it was bad. All my
Mhm.
bills were paid. I was, but I didn't really know all the stuff that I needed or even had and was paying for. It was just like go get this stuff because you need it and you do what you're told, right?
Right.
Um, so I was actually, my husband had switched jobs and he was rolling over his 401k. And, we were kind of looking at things and I just started to look at our finances and I was like, why do we pay so much for this? And why are we doing this? And so
Hmm.
I had someone take a look at it and found out, uncovered that I wasn't really doing things that I should be doing at that age. And now with a young family, we had 2 kids by then. And
Hmm.
it kind of, I got upset at myself because I'm like, I'm a numbers person. How can I
Right.
not know all this stuff about personal finance? Well, the answer is really easy. Nobody teaches that in school. I didn't learn
That's
that in
true.
college. I didn't
That's
learn that
true.
in college. I didn't learn it in high school. I mean,
Hmm.
what you learn in high school is how to write a check. Not anymore, because my
Right.
son graduated from high school a couple of years ago and didn't know how to write a check.
Yep.
Um, those are the things that they teach you, right? They teach you about credit cards, but they don't teach you everything about credit cards. They don't teach you about loans. They don't teach you about compounding interest, right? So, accounting classes in high school, when I made that shift to college, I learned everything that I learned in an entire school in 1 hour, my first day of accounting in college. And then it just kind of snowballed from
Wow.
there. So nobody teaches you that stuff,
Right.
right? So I really got
Hmm.
mad at myself. Like, how could I not know this? How could I be a numbers person and not know all of this stuff about personal finance? So I started looking into it a little bit more, and started talking to the gentleman who was kind of just laid out a plan for us, and said,
Hmm.
here's what you have and why you should have it. And okay, you have this, but it's really not protecting you the way you think it is. And you're missing this. And then we had something happen where I thought I needed to file a claim on my homeowner's insurance. And um, my insurance agent, who was with the family for forever, right? This was the family insurance agent that everybody uses.
Hmm.
And he said, "You're not covered for that." And I said, "Well, I don't understand why, because our
Um,
house was new construction and you came and saw the property. So why wasn't I covered for that?" So then I got more mad because I trusted you. Like, you're educated in this industry and you have a moral, ethical, and professional responsibility to help me, the consumer, and you didn't do that. So that
hmm.
really just kind of said, need to take it upon myself to just really figure out what all this means, right? And the more I talked, I
Right.
was getting educated myself and really had a passion for that. So I kind of dipped my toe in to say,
Hmm.
what does this look like? What is a business, a career in this look like?
Hmm.
And then just kind of took off from there. So what I enjoyed about it, why I wanted to pivot, was because I went from doing the same thing kind of every day, right? You go into work, you have this, I no longer had clients because I worked for a company. But it was kind of the same thing every day. And it just wasn't rewarding for me anymore. I didn't feel like
Hmm.
I was helping anybody. And the only person that I was helping was the owner have a really good bottom line.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
So, which that's just the way it is, right? That's the way that business works. Um,
Yes.
I really felt like I could make an impact on
Hmm.
helping people. So going back to when I was little, to be a teacher. So
Hmm.
that's what I decided to do, was use my accounting background and all of the things that I know to actually turn that around and teach people about finances, to not make the same mistakes that I did, even with a financial background.
Right. Right.
That just lit me up, and I kind of just went from there.
So, were there any special classes or certificates or licenses that you needed to get into the finance industry?
Yeah, so there's, depending on what you want to do, there's a lot of licensing out there. My excuse me, my specific track, I started with my insurance license. So got my insurance license, and then I moved into all my investment licenses. So
Hmm.
there's the SIE, there's Series 6, Series 63, Series 65, and all of those mean something.
Hmm.
And what you can offer your clients. Um, and then going into taking a step further. So now I have all these licenses, and I'm regulated by FINRA, which is the federal agency. So you have all your federal and state licenses. There's certain states that I'm licensed in.
Okay.
Um, that allow me to provide investments. I also went and then got my mortgage license, because these are all avenues that I can offer to my clients. So
Okay.
um, not only do I sit down with them and teach them how to do a budget, because again, nobody was taught how to do a budget
Right.
or how to follow a budget, because people don't they don't want to do that either, right?
Right.
Um, Simply because they don't understand it, which is okay. But I really take that personal step to say, don't be afraid of these money words and financial words, right? Let's just kind of break it down and see where you're comfortable.
Mhm.
So having all of these tools, the insurance, the investments, the mortgage, those are all things that people do every day and,
Right.
and touch every day. So why not be licensed? I may not do all of those things for my clients, but if I'm licensed, I feel that, one, I'm required to continue the education to keep my license active, but I'm also keeping up with the industry to
Right.
then be able to know how to help my clients. And then going forward, because I have my own business, you have to be licensed to actually run your own office. So that was another license. So I am a registered principal. And then investment advisor. So that's the Series 65 license.
Okay.
Um, the word financial advisor is sometimes misused. You actually have to be licensed, and you shouldn't market that you are an advisor unless you have a specific license.
Oh,
So
okay.
yeah, so sometimes banks or other financial services companies, just something you want to be careful about. And one of the questions is then to ask, are you a fiduciary? And
Okay.
a fiduciary has nothing to do with how you get paid. It's actually this specific license, because there is a specific license that allows you, in the eyes of the licensing bureaus,
Hmm.
to market yourself as a financial advisor.
I did not know that. That's
Yeah,
good information.
yeah, yep.
So, is there a particular major that lends itself well to a career in finance?
There is. I mean, it depends. It's so broad, right? I mean, we deal with money every day. As you can see, not only from my experience, and I didn't even touch like the tip of the iceberg, right? If you go into, if you're a finance major
Hmm.
in college, sure, you're going to learn about different things. And then from there, you can go into, you can work on Wall Street. You can do, be a trader, commodities trader. You could work for a bank. So finance, economics, there's a lot of different ways that you can kind of spin that. My take on this is, and I actually look to hire people and train them, because you don't need a college degree um, to do what I do. You
Oh,
can go,
really?
yeah, you can go and get licensed
Okay.
to to do what I do.
Okay.
So it's not something that you need a college degree. However, um, I would love to see people have that experience. You have to go
Hmm.
out and experience things, right?
Right.
Which is one of the most rewarding things about my career, is that even though you moved around, I moved around from job to job, and the average length of a career right now is, correct me if I'm wrong, it's like 5 years, right? People aren't staying in jobs for 20, 30 years like they
No,
used to.
no,
Um,
not at all.
and that's okay, right?
Right.
But I think that um, that stigma of, you're, when I was in school, I had an accounting degree, so I thought I needed to sit for the CPA exam because that's what you do, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I did, and I didn't pass it,
Okay.
and that's okay. It's a very hard exam.
Hmm.
Um, but knowing that there's something else out there that you can develop.
Right.
So, I mean, look at all the exams I had to pass, right? I mean, insurance, one, two, three, four securities exams,
Wow.
five actually to get my principal license, and a mortgage exam.
Right.
So I took 8 tests to get licensed to, to where I am. And my college degree had nothing to do with that.
Right. Right. And I also like that you said, your experience, you did not pass the CPA exam, but you didn't let that hold you back. You didn't feel like, okay, I failed, I can't succeed in any
Yeah.
type of career.
Yeah.
You continued pursuing other licensure, and
Yeah.
you'd have been able to build a career around that, even though you didn't pass that CPA exam. So that's
Sure.
a good thing for young people to hear, because I think a lot of times we have that, what we perceive as that terrible failure, and then it can kind of hold us back from
Yeah.
moving on and doing something else.
Yeah.
So that's
So I think the message there is, and truth be told, I love telling this story now.
mhm.
20-year-old me hated telling this story,
Right.
because of that's how you feel, right? And you're in an office. I mean, it's required, um, that if you go to work for a public accounting firm, it's required that you get your CPA license.
Okay.
Fair enough. I mean, you're going to be doing taxes, and there's certain definitions and stuff I'm not going to get into, but there's certain reasons why. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So way back when, in the 90s, when I hit the job circuit, there was a little bit more leniency, right?
Mm-hmm.
Some of the bigger firms don't have that, and understandably so.
Right.
Truth be told, I sat for the CP exam many times. I'll say that.
Okay.
And I never passed it. So now switching gears and hearing, oh, well, you have to go get a license and take a test. I just went into sheer panic mode.
Oh, sure.
Because I'm like, I'm not good at tests. So my immediate thought, to your point, Shelley, was I'm never going to be good at this because I couldn't even pass that test how many years ago.
Right.
And happy to say I passed all of my tests on the first try except one. Now, I'm not bragging about that. I'm just saying,
right.
If your heart is in it and you truly have a passion for what you're doing,
mm-hmm.
you're going to find a way to do what you need to do.
Right.
And it's all with the right training, with the right mindset. Mindset is everything.
Yeah.
And I think that really speaks to what you just said. Don't be discouraged. You just have to keep going. And if it was meant to be, it's going to happen. Maybe not the way you think.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
No, that's a great point that, I think the recent college graduates and even the current college students need to know that, one perceived failure is not the end of the road for you. There's other things you can do. And
board exams are not, they're not easy. They're not supposed to be. If they were easy, everybody would be doing it. Right.
Right.
They're meant to weed out the best of the best. Right.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, had I passed that exam so many years ago, did that make me a better accountant than I was to begin with because I had those letters behind my name? No.
Right.
So that's really what I took from it is, say, years into my career, I finally passed the CPA exam just to say that I did it.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make me any different than I was the day before?
No.
The principles, right? So sometimes, yes, the license is required for what you're doing in order to give you what you do, but that doesn't make you better at what you do. So
right. True.
That makes sense.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
So what are some of the top skills needed to work in the financial industry?
Well, first and foremost, I'm going to say people skills.
Yes, definitely.
Right? You're working with people. Sometimes you're working with frustrated people.
True.
People monitor their money more than they do their health.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact.
Yes.
So you have to, people, and then there's a lot of misinformation out there. So that would be the one thing that I'd say is people skills for sure. You have to learn how to talk to people, how to deal with people's emotions. Organization, certainly a skill that you need. You need to keep track of your clients. You need to keep track of due dates and tasks and requests and things like that. Block scheduling is something that changed my life when I switched my career because, you think of it, you report to work at 7:30, I go to lunch at noon and I leave at 4:30.
Right.
Maybe I'll have some meetings, but not too much demand there as long as I'm in the building and I show up for work. Right.
Right.
When you run your own business, you have to schedule appointments. You have to allot travel time. You have to, what if this meeting runs over? What if I have a cancellation? Right. So organization, certainly something that is needed. The other things I'd say is mindset. Any career that you have, whether it's in accounting or healthcare or anything, is just mindset. When you get up in the morning, are you going to attack the day with, are you going to be excited about it, or are you just going to be like, oh, like that commercial, right? Time to make the donuts. That's what I felt like when I was in accounting, and it wasn't for me anymore.
Right.
On the flip
Yeah.
side of that, at the end of the day, if you have a horrible day,
Hmm.
are you going to be like, I hate my life, this isn't for me, and just switch, right? You have to be
Right.
able to work through all of that. And, back to, um, if you don't get a job or a specific job that you really, really wanted and you don't get it, that's
Hmm.
okay, because
Hmm.
there's probably something else better out there, or it just wasn't for you. So you kind of have to take those things with a grain of salt.
Right.
Do you need to be good at math? No.
Okay.
No, you don't need to be good at math, but you do need to stay on top of the industry. You do need to understand concepts. To this day, can I add numbers in my head? Yeah. Can I multiply? Sometimes yes, sometimes no. It depends on what time of the day it is and how much coffee I had. But that's a misconception, especially when I'm looking to add agents to my business. That's the first thing I get. I'm not good at math. And I
Hmm.
said, well, I didn't ask you that question, but you don't need to be, because
Right.
I'm gonna train and develop you to give you all the information you need to go out and help people and educate them about finance.
Oh, that's interesting. So, what would you say is the most rewarding part of what you're doing?
Ah, great question. It's really just the impact that I have on people. Um, People are struggling with their finances. That's not a secret.
Hmm.
There's a lot of people that live that paycheck to paycheck cycle. There's a lot of
Yes.
people that are in debt, especially since the pandemic. Just things haven't been right. Um, there's a lot of older people too that just, again, have never learned, that they weren't taught personal finance. So it was go to work, pay your bills, save your money, and then retire when you're 65
Hmm.
or 67. Well, retirement isn't an age, it's a number. So if you don't plan that correctly and start early, um, you're going to run out of money, right?
True.
So what's rewarding for me is, regardless of age, whether I have an 8-year-old or an 80-year-old, there's going to be something that I can teach them, that or help them with, or give them a different way to look at things,
Hmm.
that's going to, one, make them not worry about if they're ever going to run out of money, or are they ever going to get out of debt. When I see my clients celebrate they just paid off a credit card, or celebrate that they just bought a car, with cash, or did a home improvement and didn't have to charge it,
Hmm.
that's what lights me up. That's what
Okay.
is really, I know that I made an impact on that person. And not to say that I did it myself. I gave them the information, I gave them the education, and I empowered them to make
Right.
the right decisions that was good for them. Not because Google said this is what you should do. They made those choices for themselves and their families. And then to
Right.
see the excitement that, like, they get a win, right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's what lights me up every day.
That's very rewarding, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, what's one piece of career advice you would give today's young professional or recent college graduate to help them launch their career?
Keep your options open.
Okay.
Keep your options open. I don't think that you ever want to look. There's a lot of people that go to college now, and 5 years they're working in a completely different field than
Yes.
what their degree is in, right? And that's okay. It's okay, because at the end of the day, like I said, you need to find what lights you up.
Right.
And there's no piece of paper that's going to tell me where I'm going to find happiness and feel rewarded in my career.
Hmm.
So I think, one, don't give up, right?
Okay.
Again, just because you don't pass that board exam, or you don't get your dream job, or whatever it is, it's okay. There's something else out there.
Hmm.
And two, always keep your options open.
Yes.
Strive for something, have a goal, have a dream, make it big. Um, and if you don't get there right away, that's okay. Just work towards it.
Right. Great advice. Great advice. So, what's the best way for our audience to get in touch with you, Nicole?
So I have my website, which is www do we even use www anymore? I don't even know. But it's
I
Pompa,
say it.
yeah, you just say it. PompaFinancial.com. So
Okay.
there you can go on. There's some free resources there. You can schedule an appointment with me. I'm also on LinkedIn and on Facebook. If you just search Pompa Financial Services on Facebook, I'm on there as well.
Okay. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much for being my guest today, Nicole. And to
Thank
my
you.
audience, tune in next for the next episode of the Young Professionals Career Catalyst on Tuesday, May 28th at 8:30 a.m. And thanks again, Nicole.
Thank
Great
you.
conversation.
Yep, this was great. Thanks, Shelley.